We've got about a minute, so we'll give some time for everyone to get back on or get on.
I know it's the new protocol. If you don't get on your Zoom meeting within 3 minutes, it's like 30 minutes late in the old way, you know? I don't know. What do you all think about it from the, like, you know how you used to show up to the meetings, it was 5 minutes late, then y'all chit chat as you started 15 minutes after the meeting started.
Yeah, true.
Not with Zoom. You get on and you get started. So Kelly, what site did you have? I forgot.
I had the Highway 70 bridge out in, I guess you'd technically Shacklet, Kingston Springs.
Right.
Yeah.
When where's Ryan? When do we all start up the monitoring and the data gathering this summer, Ryan? Does it start in May?
Were you on the list that I sent an email out last week?
Yeah,
a volunteer recruitment email. Were you on that list, Kelly?
I was, yes. I haven't responded to it yet.
Yeah, we've got, well, you better respond soon. We've got like 12 people that have already responded. So spots are filling up.
Hey.
I love to hear that.
With free candy, you know, and chances to get water samples in a rainstorm.
It's impressive. So I sent out the recruitment email and have gotten a bunch of responses. I think it was last Thursday or Friday. So I just need to go through it now and assign people locations. So
cool.
Beginning of May.
And Kelly, do you live out there near there?
I live in Bellevue, so I don't know if we tested the Highway 100 bridge or not.
We did. Yep. Yeah, we did that one as well.
That one's actually closer to me,
Okay.
but I'm partial to the Highway 70 bridge just because that's where I always float. So when I can go.
Yeah.
Hey Ryan, I wanna get signed up too. Do you mind? I don't know if you're gonna cover the link, but I cover a good section of the river, so I might be able to.
Yeah, definitely. So the recruitment email that I sent out was only 2 people that specifically were interested in citizen science. So you probably weren't on that list, but I can certainly send you the info so you can fill out the form.
Right. I am the least scientific person you know, but I am
That's
outdoorsy.
okay. That's okay.
If you know how to, if you can keep your
for this program.
yeah, if you can keep your hands outside of the sample jar, it's a good thing, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
My
Don't
wife
spit
says
in
I
it.
cook in an unsanitary way all the
Yeah,
time. So
We'll teach you the correct scientific methods to get the water.
There you go.
thank
Scoop it
you.
up, don't drink it.
Yeah, it's amazing how much some of the basic information that we all gather is not that complicated. I was just looking at pictures, the guy from the Army Corps pictures when they were studying up in East Kentucky, and he has pictures of where people went in their houses and just had like taken lipstick and drawn, this is where the floodwater hit my house, you know. It's just like, it's the basic observational science, you know. So
I can handle that then.
All right, Courtney, I think we can go ahead and get.
Are we good? I was
Yeah, I
gonna.
think so.
oh, hey Jeremy, there's Jeremy. I see
Lisa
him.
Harless.
Jeremy's.
Steve.
Lisa
Hello.
Harless, our advisory council member.
Hey.
Hey, it's no fair, you guys, I can't see your faces.
We got Dory's brother.
Oh, hey, Steve, you're not allowed
Hi,
to be on
Dory.
this meeting.
Oh, he is, okay.
I'm
I knew he
listening.
signed up.
Jeremy, no.
That's great. Angela didn't tell me. I'm being meeting bounds by my brother. That's great. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm just here for moral support.
Lisa Harless.
Yeah,
Is she
Lisa
on
Harless is
audio?
there. Yeah.
Yes, hey there.
How you doing?
Doing great.
Good. Thanks for
Hey,
joining.
Steve, I'm sorry you couldn't get down here for the lifetime donor meeting because there are a lot of really cool folks, and y'all, my brother's been wonderfully
Absolutely.
supportive, and anyway, it's really fun to get us everybody together. So we should do these more often. We'll get to know each other. There's quite a crowd of people trying to make the world a better place.
It beats New York City.
True. And Angela, and I'm sorry, Courtney, board chair, right?
Yep.
You're the one in charge of our annual membership meeting.
Our fearless
Yeah,
leader.
let's call this to order. So good afternoon. Thank you for everyone for joining us. We'll get to introductions in just a second, but I want to welcome all of you to the annual meeting. I'm Courtney Lajeunesse. I'm the chairperson of the board of directors, and so I'll be presiding at this meeting. And so also present today, I'll go through introductions very quickly. If you would wave or say something, just say hi so your name pops up, but and I'm just going to go around. So on the board, we have Matt Dobson here. There's Matt. Kevin Davis, who's also our secretary. You'll be hearing from him. I'm going to introduce the new board members later, so I'm going to skip you now. Don't feel sad and left out. Let's see. Oh, anyways, I know we got board members here. Where's Christian?
He jumped off, I think.
He jumped off. All right, we got Kim Sharp here. We've got Jared King.
Hello.
And those are the board members I see. And our wonderful staff here, I want to run through you all real quick. Angela Bryan, who's running this meeting, basically, keeping it going. Grace, our COO.
And we have Bryce on the board too.
Dory, oh yeah, right, of course. Dory, our CEO. And yes, there's Bryce. You're right by Dory on my so wave. He's our board intern, our dynamic board intern. Happy to have you here. Haley Hall, our director of development. Frederick, our communications guru. Ryan, our the science guy, Dr. Ryan Jackwood. I like to call you the science guy.
Thank you.
Jim Redwine, our former COO, keeping us all in order here. And I'd love to say a lot of our guests have been introduced. So hi, Kelly, who's awesome, does awesome work on our water testing. Lisa from our advisory board, you're here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great to have you. Our friend Spence Dabbs from Truxton Trust, I see, is here. Also my neighbor. So
Everybody.
Chad Bodorf's neighbor. Hi, Spence. And am I missing any other? Well, of course, we have Dory's brother, who we've heard from, Steve. Thank you for being here. Did I miss anybody?
Too.
I said Kelly, didn't I?
Oh, did you?
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeremy Cox. That's right. Hi, Jeremy.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you all for being here. We're going to have a presentation. So we got to go through the formal stuff because we are a member-based nonprofit. But we're going to, hear from Dory and Grace too. So stick with us through this. We'll jump right in. So voting at this annual meeting is limited to registered members of the Harpeth Conservancy. If there are any members who have not registered, please use the chat function and send a message to Angela Bryan, who will confirm your membership and voting rights. And those present who are not members are welcome to observe the meeting. And we've got some great information for you. So we hope you stay on for the presentation and the Q&A. The agenda here is to elect 5 directors and to consider any other business properly brought before the meeting. And we'll give a brief overview of the activities and financial condition, as I said. So just regarding the conduct of the meeting, we'll mute all microphones, I think. Is that actually going to happen? Yeah, maybe. Except officers and directors, if you wish to address the meeting, just put it in the chat function so we're not talking over each other. The chat button. Now, here's some good information if you're like me. The chat button is found in the middle of the black band at the bottom of your screen. So I'm always trying to find the chat button. So there it is. So if you want to ask a question or speak, just use that function and wait for the appropriate time in the meeting. Let's see what else. When you do speak, please identify yourself for the group and then make your comment. So thanks for your cooperation on that. So the secretary has delivered an affidavit of notice establishing that notice of this meeting was duly given. A copy of the notice of the meeting and the affidavit of notice will be incorporated into the minutes of the meeting. All members of record at the close of business as of April 1st, 2022 are entitled to vote. So our first order of business is to determine whether the membership interests represented at the meeting, either in person or by proxy, thank you, Angela, for getting all those, are sufficient to constitute a quorum for the purpose of transacting business. So our secretary, Mr. Davis, do you have a report on the quorum?
I believe we have a quorum present.
All right, and I think we're going to read into the minutes, Angela, that we had, what was the number?
So we have 361 members. We had 55 members who voted, which is 15% of our membership. We needed 10% to pass the vote. So we do have a quorum.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you both. So because of a quorum of the members entitled to vote at this meeting is present in person or by proxy, I declare that this meeting be duly convened for purposes of transacting such business as may properly come before it. And leading in it, not much suspense here, leading into that business, the first item is to vote on our new directors. And that's the only proposal currently before us. We have 5 directors to be elected, 1 to serve until the annual meeting of members in 2023, 1 to serve until the annual meeting of members in 2024, and 3 to serve until the annual meeting of members in 2025, and until their successors are duly elected and qualified. So based on the recommendation of the governance committee, the board has nominated the following for election, the following persons as directors of Harpeth Conservancy. So for the term ending 3/31/23, that's Mr. Chad Bodorf. For a term ending 3/31/2024, that is Mr. Ben Wheeler. And for the term ending 3/31/2025, we have Fernando Silva, Leighton Ming, and Christian Curry, who is currently a director of the Harpeth Conservancy. So I'd like to introduce each of these very quickly to the membership. We're very happy to have all of you, your esteemed accomplishments and your passion for the river and what you're bringing to the table. So first, Mr. Chad Bodorf. He is the Director of Construction and Asset Management for Eakin Partners. As a partner in the firm, he's involved in the assessment of acquisition, development opportunities, design, financing structures, and management of building and tenant interior construction. He's a native of Nashville, which I didn't know those actually existed. So that's awesome. He is a graduate of the University of the South with a BA in political science. So
Cool.
Thank you, Chad. Mr. Ben Wheeler. He grew up on the banks of the Chattahoochee in Lynette, Alabama. Ben has grown up around water, whether at the lake, ocean, rivers, or creeks. He and his wife, Elizabeth, both graduated from Auburn. They relocated to Nashville from Memphis in 2011, and he's been in the financial industry during that period, working for SunTrust Bank for over 6 years and First Horizon for over 3. He currently serves as a private banker and vice president at First Horizon Bank and has been active in the Franklin community since moving here. I can vouch for that. He's definitely a Cub Scout dad, so see you around there. So Ben, welcome. Mr. Fernando Silva is a global marketing leader with over 15 years of experience in consumer goods. He is currently responsible for the Pedigree brand at Mars Pet Care North America, where he oversees purpose, strategic marketing communications, and growth initiatives of the $1.5 billion business. He's also a board member of the Pedigree Foundation, and as an undiagnosed aquaholic, Fernando is most passionate about nature and spending time in the water. Thank you, Fernando. It's great to see you again. We used to work together at Mars. Very excited to have you here. And Leighton Ming joined Jackson National Life Insurance Company in April 2021 as Assistant Vice President of External Communications. Most recently, Leighton served as Vice President of Global Communications for Career Builder, a leading HR tech company, where she led internal and external communication efforts during a highly transformational time within the organization and overall labor market. Yes, it certainly was. And Leighton earned a Bachelor of Business Administration from Auburn. So we have a couple Auburn. Please don't yell War Eagle during the middle of our meetings, but very happy to have you, Leighton. Welcome. And someone we're all familiar with, Christian Curry, and has agreed to come on for another term. His family is a major landowner in the Harpeth River watershed. Christian is the principal of Farm Vet on Old Hillsborough Road. It's a major equine veterinary supply house in the region. He's active in efforts to preserve the rural agricultural character of the area, including through efforts to control excessive development such as Stevens Valley. He has been a Harpeth Conservancy board member since 2019. Yes, Christian, thank you for your efforts and thank you for staying on board. Any questions or discussion other than we are so thankful to have you all and so impressed with your accomplishments and just can't wait to go on this mission together. Any other comments? Okay. So now we're going to vote. So I now declare the polls open. If there is anyone who has not yet voted or would like to change your vote, would you please indicate so using the chat function? If you let us know on the chat function, we will email you a ballot, which you need to immediately open, vote, and submit. Please remember that if you've already voted electronically or sent in your proxy card, your membership interests have been voted accordingly. So you don't need to vote again. You do not need to vote today unless you are voting for the first time or want to change your previous vote. So, is there anyone who wants to change his or her vote, or who has not voted and would like to do so, and who has not already submitted their ballot by email as just explained? If so, please submit them or send Angela Bryan a chat message using the chat function at the bottom of the screen. And please note that any votes cast during the meeting will be considered provisional ballots until we verify membership and other issues. So we'll wait to see if there's any requests for a ballot. I'm thinking no. Am I right about that, Angela? Okay.
You're correct.
So there are no requests. So I now declare the polls closed. Will the secretary please report the results of the voting?
Yes, we have counted the proxies and ballots that have been cast and received. Based upon the preliminary vote totals, the nominees for election to the board of directors, Mr. Bottorff, Mr. Wheeler, Mr. Silva, Ms. Mang, and Mr. Curry have all been elected. The final vote will be placed on our website as soon as it is available.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. All right, since our business is now concluded, the formal portion of the 2022 annual meeting of the members of the Harpeth Conservancy is now adjourned. We will now have a presentation by, this is what you all really came for, not to hear me talk, but we had to do that. And congratulations to everyone that was elected. Again, we look forward to working with you. But let's move on to the presentation now by our President and CEO, Dory Bowles, and our COO and Vice President of Policy, Grace Stranch, regarding the activities and financial condition of the Harpeth Conservancy, followed by a brief Q&A period.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Thank you all for joining. And Angela, are you going to pop open share the presentation? You want me to?
I am trying to, but it's not giving me the option to share screen.
I wonder if even
Great. Oh,
Ryan's on.
thanks, Ryan. Oh, nope. Grace, you need to make me a host.
Yeah.
Yep. Grace, can you make me a host?
I'm looking at how to do that.
Click on the dots beside my button.
everything was so perfect, and now we're it's all fine.
Oh, here we go. I found it's working now. Okay, never mind. We got it. Okay. Whew.
It's good. It's all fine. Just people like pictures. So so we're the Harpeth Conservancy, and actually it's been 23 years, and Matt wasn't one of our first board members, but Matt, can you believe it's been 23 years and this organization's been around? Science conservation organization based in Tennessee, clean water and healthy rivers in Tennessee. That's our mission. So we'll just pop through to get to sort of the meat of what we have as priorities coming up and some of the things we're working on at the broader level. And just keep rolling, Angela. Let's just stop here a second, because I know some people, it helps to get a sense of what we do, because a lot of people are surprised about all the different things that we work on. So our goal is for all rivers to meet the federal and state water quality standards in Tennessee. That's how we sort of measure our success. And we do that by building coalitions and collaborations. We build consensus, we solve problems, and we put those solutions in place. So we're not a think tank in that regard. We like to actually get on the ground and actually see how things work find out if there's something wrong and fix it and try new ideas. Everything's very implementation oriented. And this is an anagram, rivers, that gives you a sense of the variety of work that we do. Restoration, that's the on the ground stuff. We work on issues. We want to ensure that pollution problems are fixed. The V for voice, and I think we all know some of the struggles sometimes with people not having their voice heard, who the influences are, environmental equity issues, and so forth. E for educate, we do a lot of promoting practices that individuals and businesses can put in place, farmers, governments, as well as basic education, just the basics of, do you know how important this area of the world is in terms of rivers? R, recreation, we actually do a lot with recreational management. We put in a lot of the access points. And we'll let Ryan speak up about all of our science. That's really the foundation of our organization. So we have 4 core areas: clean water protection, and Grace will touch on some of our highlights there in a moment. Science and restoration, rural protection and land use. We're one of the few organizations that also works on zoning and land use, as well as like clean water law and all that other stuff. And then community engagement. So let's go on to, probably we'll hand it over to Grace in a minute. Oh, after I do finances. So we are actually in the middle of the first year of a 3-year expansion plan. Believe it or not, it's been an expansion time for us. One reason is there's a tremendous amount of going on in Tennessee, and I'll touch on that in a minute. And we are also, we as a community have noticed the need to really bring on new leadership and expand the capacity and the conservation and advocacy world in Tennessee. So that's where Grace comes in. She, in a year or 2, will be the new CEO, and I'll be the president. I'll be working on, a lot of the influencer, big donor issues, but I will not be doing day-to-day operational management of the organization. And we really need to expand the capabilities in Tennessee for nonprofits to have the same expertise as the engineering firms, the law firms, the scientists, the community organizers, the PR firms. It's very important, and Tennessee is woefully behind on having that type of capability. From a financial standpoint, we actually brought in a significant amount of new support last year as part of our 3-year effort. So this pie chart helps it break down a little bit. Right now,
I can't talk. If I could talk, I would.
Oh, you okay?
We're good.
So we right now have been increasing our assets. We would love to have in a couple of years a reserve fund of a full year's worth of operating on hand. We have an SBA loan, thanks to Ben Wheeler. He did a lot of help with that, as well as 2 of our payroll protection plans that we've taken care of. But the SBA loan of $150,000 was something that even Jim Redwine helped us have some money in the bank. If anyone wants to help fundraise for that, so we can pay it back. No need to pay the government interest. You'll see the expenses or how they shape up for our 4 different program areas. Our kind of core focus is on clean water protection and advocacy, but we've done a lot with science and restoration this year. So I'm going to head on to the next, if you don't mind, Angela. Oh, I guess one more thing. This is the assets. As you can see, that most of our support comes from individuals. We are not an organization that gets a lot of money from the government. So it's all support from individuals, companies, and people we work with. And that also gives us the flexibility. So you can see the assets here, and about $300,000 net assets on hand. And we'll roll over to the next slide. Thanks, Angela. So in case you aren't aware, I think this is Ryan's latest, or Jim, someone pulled up this latest map. You can see the hot spots in red, the rivers of the Southeast. I'm going to make your guys' faces go away. All around in here, this is the 3rd most biodiverse region in the world when it comes to rivers. If you go to the next slide, it's not the sexy stuff like tigers and elephants. It's all these little things. So there's like 50 or 60 different species of mussels, 84 different species of fish just on the Harpeth. The Colorado River only has like 30. So these little rivers in the Southeast, Ben, you all grew up around them. I was listening to where you're all from. All those little crawdads, all those little darters, all the fish that you don't catch on a line, that's where the diversity comes from. And it's really a fascinating part of the world. And mostly it's stewarded by the people who own their property and their little creeks. Next slide. And 55% of all the stream and river miles in Tennessee that have been assessed by the state don't meet these water quality standards. This is a huge increase in the last 10 years. A lot of it's driven by growth. Most of the state gets their water from surface water, rivers, 60%. So it is a big deal from a drinking water standpoint, as well as ecology and overall water quality health. Next slide. And one of those big issues that we're dealing with is everybody wants to move to Tennessee, especially the greater Nashville area. Actually, this number is now behind. We're going to have 1 million people in the next 10 years, not 15. So that's why we do a lot with land use and figuring out where are the smart places for our dense growth and how do we keep our farmlands and all that stuff. Next slide. So I'll hand it over to Grace. This is sort of one area that she wants to highlight for a minute about our work on clean water protection.
Hey everyone. So I don't know if I can switch over if y'all can see me or not, but one of our really big successes this year was around the McCrory Quarry. We've been working on this issue for over 15 years at this point, where we have been involved when they've been trying to turn it into a landfill. It's been a continuing issue, and it's connected by groundwater to the Harpeth. So that is why we have been involved with the issue. This year, we had some particularly big successes. We were able to work together with lots of groups and push for rezoning of the land that better fit what the land should be zoned under. And we were also able to kill a really bad bill that would have basically gotten rid of all of the base zoning that protected it from being filled. And I just want to say that this is an issue specific event. And we had a Cheers for Beers event in the community that was going to be most directly impacted, although it would have had impacts across the state. We had over 100 people show up. And we really want to continue this policy work, and we are trying to extend it and have more people get involved with issues. And so if anyone is interested in this type of work, please reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you further about how you can get involved and how you can look out for potential issues in your communities related to rivers.
You can't tell from that slide, but the Harpeth River is just like right off the picture. This is 500 feet from the river, and it's a state scenic river. So when this whole thing kicked up 15 years ago, the father of the State Scenic Rivers Act lived in the Harpeth. That was Senator Henry. And he called up, and it's just one of these things where, there was always this owner of this property always wanted a variance for everything. So it's been a complicated process. And as Grace is saying, we're seeing this more and more. There's pipeline issues and other things where we're basically seeing at the state level bills to undermine local what do you call it, Grace? The local zoning, local decision making in cities and counties. So it's been very interesting to watch these dynamics. What's the next slide, Angela? Flooding. All right, so I have 2 slides. And Lisa, you were here last year. Remember, we talked about flooding last year. This is a part of the country, but it's all across the East Coast. We're getting what they call atmospheric rivers, if you had never heard of those. But I was just on the phone with the Army Corps of Engineers today about flood models. And the real challenge is it's just like tornadoes now. You can get 7 or 8 inches in about 5 square miles. So it can rain hard in downtown Nashville, and Franklin won't even get any rain. But it'll be a lot of rain. And so that's really affecting planning, the water quality, flooding, and everything else. And I'm sure you're all familiar with what happened in Waverly. We now have a new state record of 16 inches just last summer in August. Next slide. So this is one of the issues that's up right now that's in Franklin. And as Grace was pointing out about the quarry issue in Nashville, this particular development proposal just sort of elevated the whole dynamic and challenges of floodplain management and then growth and planning. Like, what are the safe places? What type of development to put in what type of situation? So this particular area of the Harpeth is completely surrounded by floodwaters. And those water depths are actually fairly unsafe levels. They're at 2.5 feet to 1.5 feet across all the critical roads, which means it's a real challenge for people. If y'all have never watched the video, Turn Around, Don't Drown, it's hilarious. It's a great country music star who does it. It's like 6 inches of water will stall out your car, and a foot will, you'll be floating. So I think the big challenge for all these communities is how to now plan for growth and emergency response with the changing climate conditions, because people aren't familiar with them. So there's a big vote on Tuesday night if y'all want to help. And Brian had to jump off to do his presentation with the League of Women Voters at 1. So I will touch on the science program. And one of our priorities, we are the organization in Tennessee focusing on the big national issue of nutrient pollution. I don't really like that term. Nutrient pollution makes it all sound like it's good for you, but you know, you can have too much nutrients too, too many nutrients. You can eat too many vitamins. So this is a great image over here on the right of how the dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico is fueled by all the nitrogen and phosphorus runoff through the Mississippi River Basin. And across the country, you're seeing an elevation of this issue with the EPA. Yes, it's sewer plants, it's also agriculture. And so it's really time to really focus on reining in some of the lack of any kind of control we have right now in the agricultural sector, mostly with the big corporate ag. And one of the things going on that we've been studying is that even rivers, even though they might flow, when they move slowly in the summer, the water slows down, the sun is out, the water gets warmer, everybody's out there having a good time with their dogs and their tubing, but it's also the best conditions for toxic or hazardous algae blooms. And that's been one of our focus areas with our big computer modeling on the Harpeth. It's the first one for the seven states in the Southeast where we are developing a water pollution model to figure out how to remove effectively and cost effectively the sources of this stuff. So you don't have to worry about your dogs getting sick and dying. Next slide. This is what Ryan is coordinating so that we can create one in Tennessee. We do not have it in Tennessee, but you usually have in many states volunteers collecting data and then providing an early warning system. Actually, in this case, we'd like to create it so that you can look at the beginning of the day as to whether or not area you want to go paddle is either a green day, a yellow day, or a red day for water quality. And we're using E. coli as the canary in the coal mine, if you will. E. coli is very easy to grab samples of. And so Kelly and y'all who are helping out on that, you can see some of what Ryan's doing is using AI and some other statistical models with your data to put together a prediction in the morning based on, let's say, rainfall and temperature and other information we can grab from the internet and predict whether we can expect, you know, for there to be a problem with too much E. coli in our favorite areas to go wading and paddling.
Very cool.
It is very cool. And so that's kind of what that's all about. And it's a very big deal. We're working on that with a lot of our federal agency partners and other people in public health and all of that. So we don't want to scare people, but I can tell you about basically, and Fernando, for y'all like to paddle, if it rains, the land just got a shower. So don't jump in right after hard rain, because that's usually when you see the E. coli is up the highest.
Oh, I've experienced that. Also the roadblocks of the fallen trees.
And yeah, that's true too.
It makes it an adventure to go through the obstacles. Yeah, this would be a great tool.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing too is maybe it helps us figure out if there's a hotspot problem. Maybe there's a sewer overflow. Maybe there's somebody's, you know, it's like, it's not, we want to make sure we're solving the problems too. So I think I'll be handing it over to Frederick in a second. Let me see what the next slide is. Oh, Haley, go for it. Fundraising, our two big things coming up.
So just to fund the work that Dory and Grace have just talked about and stay abreast of issues, we do a lot of fundraising. For 2022, we have upcoming the Big Payback, which is with the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee. So you can give during that time. We also, our largest fundraiser is River Swing. It's scheduled for September 17th. We would love for everybody to attend. There are other ways to get involved as well. You can be a corporate sponsor or help us find corporate sponsors, be a table host, which is a table of 10, donate to our auction. And we also are seeking volunteer groups that could help in large, you know, either as individuals or as larger numbers to help with our auction and zero waste efforts, and many other aspects that make the event run successfully. Then getting into the end of the year, we do our Giving Tuesday and our Rally for Rivers, which is our year-end campaign. So keep on the lookout for those. We will do a dinner in the creek this year, at least one, and are seeking sites. If you know of anybody who has a great low creek where we can actually put tables in the creek, I would love to talk about it. We need significant volunteers to make that event happen as well. So we appreciate everybody who gives on any level to support our work. So whether it's your time, your talents, or your treasures, we appreciate it.
Next. All right, Frederick, you're up. As we wrap up. Yeah, it's all the ways you can get in and help out.
Great. So one of our things many of you may already be familiar with are the lessons on the river. We do hands-on and in-person events that are geared around learning about our rivers, whether it's what's in the water, be that fish or aquatic life, or identifying trees. We're going to be doing May 21st. It's a Saturday morning. That is from, what time is that again? 10 to 11:30 down at Shelby Bottoms. We're going to be doing a tree identifying walk along the Cumberland River. We've got our Family Fun Day coming up in June, which is a big event we do every year for the past 3 years, I think, 2 or 3 years. And we bring together different community members and do demonstrations on fly fishing, casting, and fly fishing, tying, and kayaking, and river safety, camping alongside the river, and all those sorts of things. So keep your eye out for registration for that. That will be coming up soon. This What's in Your Water with TWRA, we're going to be, we with TWRA are going to be identifying different fish and different species in the water. This Pen Pals group works, or the Pen Pals event is, we haven't finalized dates on that yet, I don't think, but we are working to do that and get that organized. But it's a collaboration event that we do to identify and get kids on the water from inner city parts of Nashville. And then we've got a water treatment plant tour to understand how water comes from the river and comes to our houses and things like that. Next. We also do tabling events, some big ones this weekend. We've got Earth Day Festival, we mentioned earlier, up at Centennial Park. And down in Franklin, we've got the big Main Street Festival happening. We're going to be doing a little demonstration sort of interaction over at Patagonia about our Be River Responsible program, and essentially to try and educate anybody who wants to come by on what sort of attire you need when you're out on the river and how to stay safe and all that kind of stuff.
No glass, right?
Yeah, no glass, the big one. And we've got a few other ones here. The Water Lantern Festival takes place down at Centennial Park. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's people design their own lanterns and send them off. And it's this big old thing. There's food and music, and it's going to be a great time. Michael W. Smith, the Clay Benefit Shoot, is to benefit his nonprofit called Rocket Town, which works to provide programs for youth in Nashville. And so all the proceeds will be going to that organization. And then we've got a couple other things just finishing out the year here. And if anybody wants to get involved with helping us table any of these events, to talk about our work, to educate people in the community about it, or have events that you think we should table at, do feel free to email me there. I've got my email at the bottom left, and I can type it into or someone can type it into our chat as well. Next one. Yeah, just a couple ways that you can get involved with us. I can send around a couple links after I'm done and Grace is closing out here, but we do the Amazon Smile and Kroger Rewards programs, which are all free of cost to you guys, and we get a small percentage of profits from something in there, and get a donation sort of thing every month. Of course, stay connected with us through social media, get on our email list, volunteer with us in the number of ways that we've kind of already mentioned here. And always feel free to reach out to any of us. We're happy to have a conversation and talk to you about how to get involved. Oh yeah, it's time to get new plates. If you haven't done it already, we have one as well. So you can find out how to do that at the Riverplate TN.org to learn more.
Yeah, definitely tell people about it. It brings in $50,000 right now to our organization. It's like our membership program. There are some organizations who've had them for longer, because ours is only 8 or 9 years old. Some of them had them for 20 years. It can raise about $150,000 to $200,000. And so ours is already growing organically. It's in 78 or 80 of the 90 some counties in the state. So just word of mouth. People do have to replace their license plate this year. So it's $35 on top of your regular plate, and half of it goes to the Tennessee Arts Commission and the other half comes to us.
All right, for the couple of you that have joined since, since we had the meeting earlier, I dropped these links into our chat earlier, but this one here that I'm posting now, we are doing a promotional thing for Earth Month with Bongo Java, a local organic coffee shop based in Nashville. And any coffee purchased or any retail coffee merch or anything purchased through that link I just dropped in the chat will get 10% of the profits. We are also doing a collaborative event with the bookshop over in East Nashville on Saturday. And so for Earth Month, they're going to be for Earth Day, they're going to be donating 15% of their profits to us. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, you can feel free to reach out and get involved at any of our tabling events. This Just Glass here is a program with Justice Industries based in Nashville, and their mission is essentially employing people who are former inmates or who have struggled socially, economically, and whatnot, and they work on basically reintegrating them into the job world and employ them and all that sort of stuff. But this Just Glass one, it's a glass pickup service that you pay monthly for. If you sign up with this link here that I will drop in and put the code Harpeth, all capital, you'll get the first month for free, and they'll come to your door and take any glass away for you, so you don't have to go to community centers and drop them off and all that kind of stuff. Of course, merchandise, feel free to buy anything from us. We're working on getting some new stuff and restocking back into the store right now. Amazon Smile and Kroger Rewards mentioned earlier. Haley's commenting, BlackRock Leather also gives 1% of sales from the year. She popped in a link in the chat to do that as well, if that's of interest to you. And then we've got all of our social media handles there at the bottom. And I'll pass it over to Grace to close us out.
I just wanted to thank everyone for coming and attending and learning just a very overview of what our organization does. And we're happy to go in depth on any of these issues further with you. I do want to open up if anyone has any questions in particular. We're also happy to chat offline with you later or more in depth, or kind of talk with you about what you want to do or how you want to get involved, and we can make that happen. Does anyone have any questions? All right.
Well,
All right, yeah. Did you find your unmute button? Matt.
No questions? Or Matt, did you have something?
I just said, well done, sorry.
No, that's
Yeah.
cool.
We'll take it.
Yeah, fantastic. So if there are no further questions, yeah, thank you all for that presentation. Really awesome. Great to hear what they were very, very, very active organization, and looking forward to have everyone involved. So thank you all for attending today. Thanks to all the members who attended, who voted, submitted proxies. Angela, thanks for, beating those bushes for us. And thank you again to our board and staff, and all the time that you put into this wonderful organization. So with that, I think we can close out.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.